Alright, let's restart that recording and move on to Twisted Karma and his last bow. This will be what I focus on until, that explains the laundry hookups. No, we just have an awful sewage system in the basement. So this is going to be the chapter I focus on this week until, I go to, for a week in Atlanta. And, if I finish early, I have other games to play, but I will not move on to chapter 5 until I get back, so don't expect this for a couple weeks, but we're going to hopefully get through this, not tonight, but this is apparently not super long. This might take like 3 streams.
Pipe in hand, Sholmes looked down at the thick, rolling fog outside our window. I wonder exactly how many mysteries are out there, hidden within this bed of fog, he said. Indeed, a most bizarre incident, born of a curious advertisement. A hellhound's mad gallop through the shadows of a serial murder. An executed man's graveyard resurrection in the dead of night.
Ooh, so we're immediately doing callbacks here.
And a commonplace killing in a small, forgotten room at the edge of town.
So
there is naturally always another side to every case, of which most remain ignorant. And it is that other side which compels me to the scene of the crime, Wilson. So quickly now, take your hat and let's be on our way, my dear fellow. For our adventure is not over yet. Come, the game is afoot.
Afoot! So it's really funny because at the same time I'm playing this now, Lupin the Third Part 6 has started airing dubbed on Cartoon Network and Toonami. And the whole thing with that is that despite taking place in modern day, Lupin is going up against Sherlock Holmes in it. And they actually use the name Sherlock Holmes in that. They don't have to dance around it, unlike this game. But yeah, it's kind of funny that now I'm currently consuming 2 pieces of media that involve the great detective himself in different incarnations. Also, that hound is going to play into this somehow, because we've heard about this Hound of Baskerville many, many times. It's never been the central piece of any case. And we found that collar that supposedly belongs to this giant dog. So what the hell is this? Clifford's ancestor? Is this how this is going to work? It's going to be like Pokemon Legends, except with Clifford. Cosma, the big brown hellhound. 8 days after that it's Leo. Damn it. 8 days... no, it can't be. This is too early for the digital world to exist. 8 days after that earth-shattering trial and Cosmo regaining his memory, we were in the foyer of one of London's most luxurious hotels, the Great Waterloo Hotel. Oh, they have electricity. First of November, 10:24 a.m. Great Waterloo Hotel foyer. Professor Mikotoba is due to arrive at any moment. Yes, I'm so glad we got here in time. Sato-san hasn't been the same since what happened. Not that I'm surprised. The truth about Kazuma-sama's father. Do you suppose my father knew? That he was actually the mass murderer, the professor, you mean? I knew that's what she was thinking about. There's a good chance, I'd say. I mean, they did come here to London together 16 years ago, didn't they? Yes, that's true. Come to think of it, didn't you say that Professor Mikotoba knew about Kazuma going missing in Hong Kong as well? That's right, but for some reason he wasn't at liberty to talk to me about it. That probably means he knows then about Kazuma showing up here in London with amnesia, and that he's regained his memory now. It's really weird for Kazuma to just be here. There she is. Oh, that's the judge. Oh, there she is. Oh, father. Oh wait, no, it's both of them. I didn't see Mikotoba. He was like blending in somehow. Hello, Sasato. How are you? I'm very well, thank you. We're delighted you arrived safe and sound. The judge is here as well. Hello, Mr. Naruhodo. Very kind of you to take the trouble to meet us here. Oh, not at all. It's my pleasure. We've heard all about your extraordinary exploits here in London, you know. The news has crossed the seas. It has? I always look forward to reading the monthly reports that arrive with the steamships from Britain. Oh, I see. Well, thank you very much. Who is this man? Why do I feel as I have seen him before? I take it from your expression that you can't quite place me. In that case, how about a little reminder, Seishiro? A firm tap should do it. Yes. A firm tap, what? Here we go, then. I hereby pronounce the defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, guilty! Ah. Oh! You're... The court will now hear the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I don't want to do two judge voices, though, and that's the problem. Your Excellency. Hello, Judge Jikoku. How are you? It's been a long time. Good, you remembered now. I really did the trick. Guilty. He's a lot more nicer, and he's a lot nicer now that he's not in court. Also, he's got... Look how many... Are those supposed to be, like, the attorney badges? Why has he got... He's got 6 of them on his jacket. I guess the attorney's badge was modeled after those buttons. Only I was declared not guilty, wasn't I? And there was no laughing at the time. So, London again after all this time. Hard to believe it's been 10 years. To be honest, I never thought I'd be back. Neither did I. I didn't imagine Japan would ever be invited to an international symposium like this. Though really, I doubt anyone did, to be honest. It's all thanks to you, isn't it, Seishiro? What are you talking about, Eugen? Of course, Judge Jigoku. He must complete the set. He's the other man who 16 years ago came to London with Kazuma's father and Professor Mikotoba. He's the 3rd visiting scholar. Well, all those passport checks and luggage searches at the border took rather a lot of time. I must say I'm very envious of your ministerial status. You didn't have to go through any of that, did you? I knew you were jealous. Sorry, ministerial status? Yes, didn't you know? Seishiro here is also Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs. It was his personal insistence that allowed you to take Kazuma's place here on the study tour. I love the way he just kind of, like, Carl, like, moved. Because first off, he's doing the Carl pose. He's got his hands on his hips. And he just kind of shifted over. It's a status. It's soup-based. Minestrone, yeah. He's got minestrone status. Guilty as charged. Oh, well, thank you very much. He's every bit as important as he looks. Ah, yes, now, Naruhodo. I received a telegram from Lord Strongheart yesterday. Oh, you did? It appears that some things came to light in a trial you were involved with 8 days ago. About what happened 10 years ago. That tragedy. Yes, could you tell us any more about it? These intimidating looking men. Eugen Mikotoba, a medical school professor at the Imperial Yume University. He's an authority on forensic medicine and Mrs. Sato's father. Seishiro Jigoku, 43, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and a judge of the Supreme Court of Judicature in Japan. He's the man who acquitted me when I was once accused of murder. Seishiro Jigoku. It's very interesting that they made him a main character now. I'm right in thinking that these scales are a symbol of defense and law, aren't they? It's supposed to symbolize treating everything equally. Hey, Miss Mander, thank you for the raid. Hey, how you doing? What were you streaming? It's supposed to symbolize treating everything equally and fairly. That's why they're always in the middle, balanced, equal measures on both sides. Hello, hello. Case 5 of this game. Oh, wow, nice. So you're one case ahead of me. Recently, though, whenever I see a set of scales, I can only think of the enormous scales of justice. That's entirely understandable. They are such a powerful symbol in the courtroom, aren't they? And the thing about the scales of justice is, they're always leaning one way or the other. They're only ever in balance right at the start. It must be something peculiar to the British. I'm afraid I can't shed any light on it, Mr. Naruhodo. It's really good for us to come back and see this case again in hindsight. Thank you. Thank you for the follow. Yes, I am definitely looking at some of the earlier cases of this game. Is that a collapsed Edgeworth emoji? That's great. I'm definitely looking at some of the earlier cases a lot differently now and seeing what I've seen here. Because obviously, okay, so if you're in case 5, so it's no secret now, Cosmo's alive. It definitely makes me look at the second case way differently in retrospect. I hope poor Pavlova gets acquitted now. It's a very fine embroidery here that shows the name of the armband's owner, in this case, Cosmo Asogi. So I'm always carrying my best friend's hopes and dreams with me on my right arm, just here, all the time. To be honest, it's something that weighs very heavily on me. This dialogue is not different. You would think they would acknowledge the fact that he's alive here, but maybe not. He's definitely going to need a replay of all 10 cases. They blew this duology out of the water. I'll definitely say this has definitely been some of the best written Ace Attorney in recent memory, mostly because 4, 5, and 6 are not. I greatly enjoy 5 and 6, but man, there are some moments in those games that are not written well. That looks like the case I'm going to use to go on. No, that's nothing like it, actually. Oh, it's the Crystal Tower. Look at that, it's a picture of the Crystal Tower. Well, the Great Exhibition is one of Britain's most prestigious achievements in recent years. I wonder how tall it is. It really does represent the pinnacle of scientific achievement in so many ways. There's a 20-meter tall chimney on the bathhouse near my lodgings at UMA University. The attendant there is always boasting that's the tallest object in the neighborhood. I'm sure. Did you know that over the channel in Paris there's a tower that's 300 meters tall? What? How many times taller than the chimney at Yume Soken Hot Springs is that? And if it's that tall, I'll have to draw properly. The smoke will get stuck, surely. I don't think it's that sort of tower, Mr. Naruhodo. Gotta bounce because we're going to have late night tomorrow wrapping up the game, but enjoy the hell out of this case. I will. Thank you for stopping by, and thank you for following. I am going to try to plow through case 4 of this. Probably not going to finish case 5 yet, because I'm going on a trip next week, so... Case 4 is going to be this week, and then I'm going to do something else until I come back from my trip. And then I'll be doing case 5 and finishing this up. Have you seen all those sparkling jewels up there? They must have gathered every gem in the world for that. It's called a chandelier, I believe. It's designed to provide elegant lighting in large, spacious rooms like this. So they had to gather every gem in the world just to illuminate one room? It's probably electric light bulbs that are actually throwing the light. If I tried to hang something like that from the ceiling in the office, it would be scraping the floor. I think perhaps chandeliers aren't for you, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry, just a sec. There we go. I might have to get another drink, actually, because I finished everything I have here. Look at those cases just left in the trolley. Aren't they worried about thieves? I know I am. Haven't you seen the porter over there? Don't worry, he's obviously keeping an eye on everything. So it's a trap designed to catch any chancers who might be tempted. This dude's gonna be a juror. We never figured out what the camera did in the last case. We never... Drebber's camera. We never, saw what the plate was in it. Why did the porter give me such a scathing look just now, do you suppose? Well, some might say you look a little suspicious with your jet black clothes. Not everyone clad in black is some sort of ninja with intent to steal, you know. That desk is known as the hotel reception. Anyone wanting to spend the night has to report there to sign in for their stay. Oh, so do you think that's the head clerk behind the desk there? Yes, I'm sure it must be. I'd love to stay in a grand hotel like this for a little while, wouldn't you? Just to know what it's like. If the hotel fee was paid through our stipend, I'm afraid it might bankrupt our homeland. True, London gives the word expensive a whole new meaning. Not a ton to examine, but that's fine. Professor Mikotoba, I wonder, could I show you something? Why do you seem so nervous? I suppose because I'm a student showing something to a professor. That's always quite nerve-wracking. So is playing LEGO Star Wars, Gamma. I see you there. Oh, I'm sorry I perturbed you in that way. But anyway, I'm afraid I have nothing useful to say about that, really. Your journey from Japan. So, how was the voyage here? Oh, 50 days at sea is a long time by anyone's standards. But it wasn't as bad as when we first came 16 years ago. No, that's true. Then I truly wondered if we wouldn't be drifting in the vast ocean for the rest of our lives. This time we followed the same route as you, so we were able to relax and enjoy the experience. Ah, so you stopped in France's beautiful capital, Paris? We did, yes, though only for one night. And yesterday evening we left the port of Dunkirk for Dover. Just in time for the Symposium, in fact. It starts tomorrow. It's wonderful that you were invited to attend such an important international event. I'm very proud of you, Father. It's thanks to Seishiro here. 16 years ago he managed to ingratiate himself with Britain's Attorney General. I'm sure that's why he was invited, and I suppose you could say I'm something of an appendage by default. Speak for yourself, Eugen. You were close friends with the professor of forensic science at a major hospital. Yes, well, I'd rather not dredge all that up, really. No, there's been a lot of water under the bridge since then, but it doesn't bring him back. Cosma's father, I suppose. Cosma— No! What? How did— Pro controller strats, man. Speaking of, the thing I ordered that I didn't get at PAX, but I saw my friend Kurt— Oh, that's right, I have to talk about that at some point. So, without going into detail, one of my friends, Kurt Dog, who is, he runs a YouTube channel, and he does a panel called, Double Nintendo at some conventions. He bought a thing for the Switch that looks like the Google Stadia thing, where it's like you attach your phone to like a like little thing, and then you attach the thing to the controller. He found something like that on sale that does that with the Pro Controller and the Switch, so that you could just play the Pro Controller while having the Switch's screen like kind of elevated in front of it. And I ordered one, and I'm probably going to get that this weekend. So I'll have multiple ways of playing the Switch on the go. I'll have the Joy-Con, and I'll also have the ability to use the Pro Controller in a non-tabletop way. The Professor, the killer who took the lives of 5 members of the British aristocracy, idiocracy, that's what I belong to. Baton was actually Cosma's father, wasn't he? That's correct. Genshin Asogi. Oh god. No wonder he was so bad. His name was Genshin. Genshin. You knew, I presume, Father? Yes. He was a close friend at the time. I also, in addition to that holder, I also have, and I haven't used this, I have a vertical Switch holder, which you can't charge the Joy-Con, but what you do is you put the Joy-Con on the sides and the Switch goes in vertically. So for arcade games and like Ikaruga, you can play the games in handheld mode with the vertical orientation while still playing in handheld mode, which is pretty cool. The Switch is a very versatile machine. I'll say that. For as underpowered as it is a very versatile gaming system. She came to Britain as a police detective. He was studying investigative techniques at Scotland Yard. I've never understood what drove the men to commit such heinous acts. It was a closed trial, so the public never knew the truth, and he was executed with little ado. To this day, very few people know what really happened, even in our homeland. What about Kazuma? Did he know? Did he know the truth about his father? No, of course not. He was told his father passed from sickness. However, I suspect he may have had his doubts. Oh, why? As you know, I tried to guide Kazuma growing up as if he were my own son. Then one day he came to my office at the university and said, "I've decided I want to travel to Great Britain and study there." I give him like a pseudo-Kurama voice. Do you think he wanted to come here to investigate his father's death? I don't know, but when I looked into his eyes, I did know that there was no way I'd be able to stop him. Something else came to light in that trial the other day, actually. Oh, what? Well, having disappeared in Hong Kong and been missing for almost a year, Kazuma since turned up here in London, working as the apprentice of Lord Van Zeek's. What? What? That's news to us. So, Lord Strongheart's telegram neglected to mention that part, then. As you know, we both thought Kazuma had died on the steamship during our voyage to Great Britain in January. But he didn't die. He's alive. As you knew, didn't you, Father? In actual fact, no. What I did know is that when your ship docked in Hong Kong, he mysteriously vanished. We sent a team of investigators to Hong Kong to try to ascertain what happened, but to no avail. But he's still alive, and here in London, you say? I never dared to even dream it. Why on earth did the young man not make contact? The government and the police have been chasing clues fruitlessly for months now. Well, it seems that he was suffering from amnesia. What? Amnesia? When we first came across him again here in London, he didn't know who either of us were. I see. He only regained his memory 8 days ago. This is unbelievable. Yes, it is quite miraculous. I wonder why Lord Strongheart didn't let us know. I must speak with him urgently. I wonder how Kazuma's been these past few days. Would it be wrong of us to go and visit him? It began 16 years ago now. It's a distant memory, really. It was Yujin here, Genshin Asogi, and myself. We were the original 3. The first judicial scholars from Japan to travel overseas to study. Ocean voyages were not what they are today, I can tell you that. 16 years ago, things were tough for their generation. Hell no, give him a cookie while you're at it, yeah. Your father was an exceptionally fine medical student at Yume University at the time, you know, young lady. Yes, grandmother told me. He went to do research at a great London hospital. He went to do research at a great London hospital to study autopsy, practically unheard of in Japan. Yes, it was an eerie place, sandwiched between the back of a prison and a burial ground. Not more talk of graves. Prison and burial ground, well, this is the same place the professor was buried. Very often, there's no one willing to deal with bodies following autopsy work. So you see, autopsy labs have something of an unavoidable relationship with graveyards and prisons. Not my cup of tea at all. Do you remember that Scottish prison governor? Caden, his name was. He was a good man. Yes, but then of course in our 6th year here, everything changed with that dreadful case. When Genshin was arrested for a series of the most gruesome murders. I simply couldn't believe it. I'd known the man for years. I was a witness at the secret hearing and I tried to speak in his defense, but you went a little too far and ended up facing charges yourself, didn't you? Well, suffice to say that after that trial we were sent back to Japan. There was nothing more we could do to save Genshin. He was a lost cause, sadly. Well, if you'll excuse us now. Yes, I'd like to get this trunk up to my room as soon as possible. Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have held you up here for so long. I'll call for the porter then. Just wait here. Susato-san's gone off at a run. I'd like to stay and talk more, but I do have various preparations to make for tomorrow. Yes, of course. Must be a big responsibility representing our entire country. I wish you the best of luck. Naruhodo. I hope you'll keep an eye on Susato for me. Keep looking after her as you obviously have been. Oh no, I mean, if anyone's looking after anyone, it's her looking after me. Well, I do appreciate you being there for her. After all, I've been a miserable father to her. I've thoroughly let her down. Sorry? What do you mean? Well, it was 16 years ago that I started my long study tour here in Britain, as you know. The very year Susato was born. Yes, I heard. The birth of my daughter was the most joyous event of my life, but... well, sadly it was accompanied by the most tragic event of my life, too. Oh, yes. Susato-san hinted at something like that. I'm assuming the mother died at childbirth. Anyway, I won't bore you with the details. The point is, I became rather less dependable than befits a grown man. And it was then that Seishiro offered me the opportunity to study here in Great Britain. I was too worried about you to leave you behind. So perhaps I was a little heavy-handed when it came to persuading you to accompany me to London. So, that's what happened in a nutshell. And that's also the reason why I now feel compelled to give my daughter as many opportunities as I dare. Though the world does not readily afford young women such things, I must say. I completely understand, Professor. One other thing, Naruhodo. If I may be so bold, I have a favor to ask you. Oh, really? Of course. What can I do for you? Well, the thing is, I'm so sorry that took so long. Miss Susato. Now then, allow us to take your bags. Allow me to take your bags. One moment, if you please, Porter. Oh, of course, sir. That machine around your neck, is it a camera, I believe? Quite right, sir. Just 5 shillings for a lovely photograph to commemorate a wonderful stay at the hotel, sir. Well, I think given the occasion, we could justify the expense. Ah, yes, of course. Naruhodo looks so nervous. I'd like to thank you for coming with me, Mr. Naruhodo. It's really made Father very happy, I think. Oh, well, I'm pleased then. But we were interrupted before. Professor Mikotomo was about to ask me something. Shall we return to Baker Street, then? I expect Iris will have some delicious tea waiting for us. Yes, let's go. I'm getting more and more anxious about Cosmo, though. Perhaps I'll try to meet with Lord Strongheart later and ask after him. Ask after him. Cosmo's Mask. 1st of November, Sholmes' Suite. What the hell is this? What was that? A man screaming in a most unflattering way. Do you think... could it have been Mr. Sholmes? Oh my, I do hope not. I don't do it anymore. Oh. He's screaming in Italian. Mon ami, mon ami. Stop this disgraceful display, huh? Who are these people? Look at their hair. It's bright red. I think they must be clients of Mr. Sholmes. Right, you two, you're coming with me now, down to the clink. No, not in prison. It's dark and damp, and I don't like it. Both the darkness, it is my friend. I am not scared. But you are always scared of the dark. Shut your mouth. I'm mixing up the accents now. Shut your mouth, you idiot. I will sit quietly in the dark and plan our next daring heist. I don't like this. I don't like it. Well, tough. We'll finish this down at the yard. Now get moving. Bye then, Jenny. Have fun. Oh yeah, thanks, Iris. And thanks, you great detective. Gina makes a fine detective herself, doesn't she? Oh, Susie and Runo. Hello, Iris. We're home. Well, did you find your daddy? Yes, we arrived at the hotel just before he and his friend. Well, that's great news. I hope you'll get to see my daddy again. Hope I'll get to see my daddy again soon. Ugh. Ah, yes. Of course. Dr. John H. Wilson. So, Iris, all that remains now is the greatest of problems known to man. Oh my god. But before we concern ourselves with that, I believe some tea is in order, don't you, my dear fellows? Good lord, that looks so unnatural. Is something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo? Do I have a crumb or such like on my face? Not so much on your face as on your head, I'd say. Come along then, everyone. I brewed a lovely special blend. Time for tea. Whatever is going on here today? In that case, let us sit and drink now. For I'm, in fact, expecting a guest later today. This black boy, Iris, scribbles down her latest ideas, isn't it? Let's see. Oh, she seems to have drawn a lot of little stick figures all lined up. Look. Cheap apples at the market is what all of them say. What? The little figures can speak? All your questions would be answered if only you would read this month's Rants magazine. You said that months ago, so I'm the only one who can't make sense of this? The mask Cosmo wore when he was assigned to Lord Van Zeeks as his apprentice. When he cast it aside after the trial the other day, I just sort of picked it up. I ought to give it back to him, I suppose. But he has his memory back now, doesn't he? And I can't help feeling he might turn around and tell me coldly to wear it myself. But isn't he your best friend? This is Mr. Sholmes' famous violin. The one he found being sold for a song at a pawnbrokery. What's it called again? A shoddy something? Oh yes, this wonderful instrument features in the Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes. It's a world-famous Stradivarius. What? Stradivarius, Mr. Naruhodo. Stradivor... Oh no, not that. Are you even trying right now? We'll come back to this another time, I think. Got something new to say about this? Tell me, Mr. Naruhodo, is this the first time you've shown me this particular trinket? Oh, I don't really remember, to be honest. If my saying that it's a collar for a breed of miniature canine with a particularly long neck were to precipitate a "here we go again" from your lips, we could be sure it was not the first time. Deduction, you see, my dear fellow, deduction. He got me. I'll say that. He got him. Mr. Sholmes, who were the two gentlemen that were here before? Oh, just a pair of petty criminals, nothing of significance. Of course, they have to make a living somehow. And when the mood takes me, I'm willing to turn a blind eye to all manner of infractions. When the mood takes you? All manner of infractions? But when such fellows set their sights on Mr. Sherlock Sholmes, well, that's when their luck runs out. Oh my, you were the target of a crime, Mr. Sholmes? But I quickly devised a plan to entrap them and deliver them to our young detective ally. You should have asked Gregsy to come, too. We could have had an arresting tea party. I did send word, but no answer was forthcoming. The man is consummately in the wrong place at the wrong time. There's a word for it, I'm sure. Ha, I have it! A bungler! That's the word. Bunger? Bunger. It's a good job he's not here to hear you say that. So those redheads have been up to no good? Started making trouble in the neighborhood? I wonder what the men did. What was that about the greatest of problems known to man that you mentioned before? Is it another fiendishly intricate case, Mr. Sholmes? How should I best explain it? Are you aware of the theory of evolution by natural selection, perchance? Well, I think I've heard talk of somewhere. Possibly, maybe. It's a revolutionary scientific theory that was newly proposed 40 years ago now. That's new? I guess back then, 40 years ago, was nothing. According to its author, Mr. Darwin, we humans were once apes who lived in the treetops. Wait, what? We were apes? Indeed, and from the very moment those apes descended from the canopy to live as humans, it has been our lot to be at the mercy of the greatest problem known to man. Our lot? What is this great problem, Mr. Sholmes? Why is it not obvious, my dear madam? The problem of rent! But, did you not receive a rather large sum of money from Madame Tuspel's only the other day? Pshaw, a large sum! One potted herb for Iris and a new motor car for me later, and all of it had quite disappeared for you, I assure you. I'm sorry, what? Would you spend it on? Honestly, Hurley, you know you squandered it. Yes, well, anyway, 2 days ago, I discovered the answer to the man's greatest problem. For the coming month, at least. And what was the answer? Why, there is a substantial clue before your very eyes. Don't tell me. Let me see. Humans are sorry creatures, unable to see what's in front of their noses. Let me give you some assistance. Don't look, but observe me very closely. There's one particular feature about my person that has changed. You should notice it in the end, I think. I think we notice it pretty immediately. In the end. It's been stabbing me in both eyes right from the very beginning of our conversation. An herb, you say? Hey, that shit wasn't illegal back then. I think we might need another clue before we uncover the full answer, Mr. Naruhodo. Thanks for the hint. I'll be tearing my hair out if the charade goes on much longer. Mr. Sholmes, isn't it about time you told us the truth? Just over a week ago, you said to us... Munchie mix? Never heard of it. Like it's an actual thing that you could buy? The case aboard the SS Buria in January. Cosmo wasn't killed, and you knew he wasn't dead at the time. So what was really going on? The fellow was unconscious for a very long time. If he hadn't regained consciousness when he did, his life would have been in mortal peril. Of course, a side effect of the prolonged comatose state was amnesia, as you now know. It was a simple enough task to silence the crew. But how? After they'd carried him out of the cabin, I assembled them in the lobby area. Cheese munchies mixed with Doritos and Cheetos and Sun Chips? Never heard of that. That sounds good. Then I made them swear to leave him unconscious and have him unlaid from the ship in Hong Kong as a murdered corpse. Oh, how horrible. It was necessary to find some material with which to persuade the crewmen to keep their word, of course. But why? Why do it in the first place? I'll be at liberty to elaborate in due course. But for the time being, I would like to reassure you. I didn't foresee subsequent events. What events? His disappearance in Hong Kong. Oh. I believe I may have made a gross error of judgment. Mr. Sholmes. What the heck? Iris' pretty little tea set is set out as beautifully as ever. Look. Well, it's only by carefully taking care of a tea set that you can make good tea. Is that a roundabout way of telling me I need to tidy my desk? Oh, Mr. Naruhodo, you do overthink things at times. But yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Munchies Snack Mix, Cheese Fix flavored. Doritos, Cheetos, Sun Chips brand, Rolled Gold pretzels. I mean, I like most of those things on their own. Sun Chips I'm not too big on, but that sounds like a pretty good mix. I would eat that. I would absolutely eat that. Sorry, 1 second. While I have our browser open here. What the heck? Okay. Alright, cool. Neat. Sorry. Actually, it's so good, oh my god. Yeah, I can imagine. Really weird how my voice is still kind of messed up. I don't know what's going on there. Just a lot of talking the last week. It's Iris's wonderful collection of medicines, potions, and chemicals. Just look at all the little bottles she squeezed onto the shelves. Yes, and there are charming little ribbons tied around the bottles, too. Take some halls or something? I don't think it's a sore throat. But the labels aren't quite so charming, are they? This one here reads, Deadly Poison. Deadly Cutsman. Well, I've been so excited about the idea of helping Iris with her experiments, you know. Just try to avoid any bottles labeled Deadly Poison or Highly Explosive. As Captain N and his crew take on the Deadly Cutsman. Well, it's only an old attic room, but I find this place more relaxing than anywhere else. Are you sure we've asked everything we need to do, Naruhodo? There's nothing else we can ask here. This looks like last week's edition. It's the article circled in red ink there. It's an advertisement column. It says, to the Redheaded League. The Redheaded League? What's that? I don't know. I've never heard of it before, but... Is something on my face? Clearly this has something to do with that. I just noticed his eyebrows are red too. This has something to do with that lively hair. Public health report. Despite the condition of the City of London itself as of late, there's been positive years so far in public health. There have been fewer cases of consumption reported when compared to this time last year, and smallpox is at an all-time low thanks to the vaccinations offered at smallpox and fever hospitals throughout various parts of London. Another cholera epidemic on the horizon. Although the cause of such outbreaks remains unclear, I would strongly advise to drink only water which has been previously boiled. Man. Imagine living through that shit. St. Bartholomew's Hospital. teaching a hospital in London. There's an emerging consensus of scientists. Theory of miasma is being soundly rejected as what? Okay. Redheaded League. On account of the request of the late Ezekiel Hopkins of Lebanon, Pennsylvania, USA, there is now another vacancy open which entitles a member of the League to a salary of £4 a week for purely nominal services. All redheaded men who are sound in body and mind above the age of 21 years were eligible. Apply in person on the morning of the 31st at the large park on Lime Street. Get £4 per week if you are a redhead. A most fantastic money-making opportunity. Why? Why is this a thing? Before I do anything, let me go to my office here and examine the spade. The spade is still here, look. Please, Mr. Naruhodo, it's not a spade, as I think you'll well know. It's a shovel. It didn't take long to reignite that old argument. Ah, I have an idea. Let's give the implement a name, like Professor Hairbrain named his tools. Oh, I never thought of doing that. From now on, then, let's call it Ryunosuke. No, it's clearly much more of a Susato. The old argument has taken a new and unexpected turn, it seems. Ace of Spades, got it. Got him! The steam is rising gently from the kettle, as always. Yes, and it doesn't feel right somehow unless it is. But the steam is an unusual scent today. Perhaps the sweet potatoes that I brought back from Japan with me are ready. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo, I heard that, you know. Tears of joy, Mrs. Sato, from my mouth. That Daruma doll is still winking at me. Look. I wonder when he'll finally get his other eye filled in. Yes, I wonder. Well, you should know, Susato-san. I entrusted the task to you. The truth is, I have already decided when that will be. What? Really? When? That's my little secret. My desk is just as it was before I left. Sumi ink and a calligraphy brush, even though we're in England now. It strikes me as typically you, Mrs. Sato, and typically not you at the same time. Well, I do enjoy all the wonderful new things to come out of the Western Cultural Revolution, of course. But I'm not ready to give up my brush just yet. And anyway, Susato-san can write more neatly with a brush than most people can with a pen. Practice makes perfect, as they say. It looks as though someone circled an advertisement in this paper, Mr. Sholmes. To the Redheaded League? Does that strike you in some way? I was thinking that just maybe, it might be related to your bright red hair. So, at last you've learned to apply my methods, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry? In the first instance, and quite indispensable, observation. Believe me, I could have seen that hair with my eyes shut. So then, allow me to regale you with the details of my latest exploits. Regale or boast? The Redheaded League. So what is the Redheaded League, which seems to be the subject of an advertisement you've circled? You've noticed it in the paper, then? That, my dear fellow, was going to be the source of this month's rent payment. It was? How? According to the advertisement, the Redheaded League is a distinguished institution of fellows of unspecified governance. In fact, the only condition for becoming a member is having red hair. Like a red herring. Is that the joke? Is that where this is gonna go? That we're gonna get a red herring of a joke? Or of a clue? That doesn't entirely surprise me. But listen to what the lucky redheads receive once they join. An unconditional salary of £4 a week. Oh my, £4 a week? But why? What are they paying people for? That I don't know. No details are given in the advertisement. But surely every redheaded person in the country would be flocking to join in that case. You're right, Susie. There's no time to lose. I'll put in my application at once. So will I, just on the off chance. That might be stretching a point, I think. The trouble is, they have a fixed number of members, you see. Sorry, I'm standing up for a second. Ugh. Oh, I see. So once a certain number of people have joined, no one else can. But as luck would have it, one member recently passed away. It wasn't particularly lucky for the redhead in question, I feel, Mr. Sholmes. So you decided to try to join in his place? Correct, I mean, look at me. Have you ever seen such a red-headed fellow? No. So why? Why did it have to go so wrong? What on earth happened? A blunder, Mr. Naruhodo, though it pains me to admit it. My blunder. What did you actually do to your hair, Mr. Sholmes? I'm glad you asked, Mrs. Sato. What you see atop my head is neither dyed nor a hairpiece. I changed the color of my hair overnight. By the wonders of chemistry. Chemistry? I was conducting some research into a method of rejuvenating spent tea leaves. And in the course of my work, I stumbled upon a potion that, when taken, turns one's hair a flame-like red. Would you like to try it? It will make every hair on your body perfectly crimson. I think I'll pass. Mr. Sholmes, is it quite safe to drink? Surely it's bad for you, isn't it? Amateurs are always hampered by such fears. Oh, I should have never doubted you, Mr. Sholmes. I mean to say... But of course. To earn 4 pounds per week, one must be prepared to turn a blind eye to a little danger. That degree of red signals more than just a little danger, surely. So anyway, Hurley left full of confidence yesterday with his new red hair. For the park on Lime Street where the Redheaded League were interviewing prospective new members. So what went wrong? The whole park was choked with red-headed folk, like a coaster's orange barrow. Coaster, excuse me. I queued for 8 hours solid before at last I reached the front. But when the panel of interviewers saw me, they immediately said, "Ah, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, are you in disguise to conduct an investigation?" That's quite a hefty amount of money, yeah. So, naturally, I had no choice but to reply, "Shh! Don't give me away!" After which I could do little else but turn and leave. Then this morning, when I looked in the mirror, irritation stirred within me. So I turned that pair into the police. Oh dear, what a disaster. For Hurley and those 2 redheads. Oh, let me guess, they drank that potion or whatever. Mr. Sholmes, you mentioned before that you were expecting a guest today. Indeed, Mrs. Sato, that is correct. Not another of those red-headed gentlemen that were here before. Not at all, they were petty villains. The guest I'm expected is... a client. Oh. A young gentlewoman who wishes to appoint the services of this great detective, no less. Oh, how wonderful, Mr. Sholmes. You must stay and observe the fashion in which a great detective receives his customers. Must we? I have you in my clutches now, Rent, just as I have you in my clutches, Redheads. That hearty laugh is masking a rather sinister thought, I feel. You know, the lady isn't due for another hour yet. Don't feel as though you must wait around if you have other things to do. I don't, and I will be moving on. Office of Lord Chief Justice Strongheart in Britain's great capital city, London. Its grand stone architecture and the echoey tick of the vast cogwheels lend it an air of authority. I'm going to grab another drink real quick, because I'm getting dehydrated already. 1 second. Normally I have, I have that mini fridge I got last November, December. Oh, there was like no sound to this at all, huh? Excuse me. I had that mini fridge. I forgot to stop recording, like pause the recording. I really got to do that if I'm gonna take a break. Shit. But yeah, I had that mini fridge. I unplugged it when I went to PAX, so there's nothing in it, and I haven't refilled it yet. And I don't want to because I'm gonna have to do the same thing again next week. So I might fill it, but I don't know yet. So I had to go downstairs and grab another. Another drink. And here we are. And here we are. 1st November, British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice's office. There's Barrack. He's here for some reason. Here's the final draft of the opening address for tomorrow's proceedings. I've supplemented your original with the figures you asked for from the yard. Please, yes. I see. Excellent work. Thank you. You're welcome, my lord. What's Lord Van Zeek's doing here? I mean, he works in the same building, but still. My, there seems to be an awful lot of tension in the air, wouldn't you say? This place is stifling enough as it is. We really don't need any more tension. My apologies, I didn't see you come in. Your small stature and dark dress make you all but invisible to me. Oh, no, it's entirely my fault for wearing black, I'm sure. From now on, you must dress in white from head to toe whenever you come in here. Now then, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, my lord, I'm right here. Kill me now. Is something wrong? Perhaps it's a little too hot in here for you. Oh, no, not at all. I mean, I've never experienced a room at such perfect temperature. If you're sure, the beads of sweat carving their way down your face seem to suggest otherwise. Because of the daggers you're staring at me with, mainly. As you're no doubt aware, my International Forensic Science Symposium begins tomorrow. In fact, your father arrived in London earlier today, I hear, madam. Oh, yes, that's right, my lord. He's extremely honored to have been invited. That face. Leave the remaining preparations for the meeting room in your capable hands, then, Lord Van Zeeks. I will attend at once. He gave you a very cold stare as he left, didn't he? Stare off who would win. I don't know. Not me. I know, but I haven't done anything, have I? These past few days, my feet have barely touched the ground, I must say. My dedicated right hand of many years was recently put out of action in spectacular fashion. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Is your left hand still of service? Mr. Naruhodo, he's talking about Dr. Scythe. Of course. I'm terribly sorry about that. I was just, Fear not, you've done nothing wrong. Dr. Scythe's own wrongdoing precipitated the situation. You needn't concern yourself with it any further. That would be a lot easier to do if it weren't for the piercing stare you're giving me. Lord Van Zeeks is doing an admirable job of holding the fort. Though disturbingly, his apprentice has been missing since yesterday. Missing? What's become of Kazuma-sama now? Can I show you this, Lord Strongheart? I'm the Lord Chief Justice. I'm not here to offer advice about evidence. Oh. Especially when the evidence in question is so dull. So that's the real reason. Nothing unusual here. Not long ago, visitor numbers to the Great Exhibition exceeded 30 million. 30 million? Are there even that many people in the world? As a comparison, Mr. Naruhodo, the population of the imperial capital of Tokyo was 2 million. I will be opening the International Forensic Science Symposium in the exhibition's main auditorium. This event has been 2 years in the making. 2 years of preparations and negotiations with other countries. Sounds like a tremendous achievement. Congratulations. The 20th century will see the wholesale adoption of forensic science and... The 20th century will see the wholesale adoption of forensic investigation techniques. And cooperation between policing organizations around the globe will be essential. Which is why this landmark first symposium had to be hosted here at the heart of our great British Empire, in order that Scotland Yard can become the leading investigative organization in the New World. He's the same as ever, I see. That passion of his is quite something. You're every bit as passionate in your own way. I'm sure, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm gonna sneeze. That was a something got in my nose sneeze there, damn. Ooh. I'm the only person in this country who truly cares about a future that embraces forensic science. It was my intention to become Her Majesty's Attorney General and reform the Yard from the ground up. So the disgrace of the forensic investigation team has been a bitter blow to my ambitions. I first established the forensic investigation team a year ago, experimentally to start with. With Dr. Scythe at the helm, I was steadily accruing an impressive record of achievement. I was on the verge of changing its name and elevating its status to a full-blown forensic investigation department. And can you not do that now? Obviously, no one wants to hear anything about it at the moment. Even I can't keep this story out of the papers. 6 million Londoners will be cursing forensic science now. This incident will set back our country's advancement in the field by a good 10 years, I'd say. Unintended repercussions of our trial. We simply couldn't have overlooked what happened, though. Of course not. We should all be grateful to you both. Not me, though. I'm gonna stab you. Anyway, I'll still reform this country's policing when I become Attorney General. This might delay my plans, but it won't alter them. Nothing will stand in my way. How old are you? 53. Damn, he's gonna be old. About Lord Van Zeek's apprentice. Ah, yes, that came as a surprise to me, I must say. That you and he are old friends. How did he become an apprentice to Lord Van Zeek's in the first place? It came about 3 months ago. An unidentified Asian man was apprehended by border police. They found him hiding aboard a large goods vessel. Oh my, so he stowed away to get here. He had no papers to identify him, no passport, and he was suffering from amnesia too. Other than the fact that he was clearly of Eastern descent, there were no clues as to who he was. So I decided to assign him to Lord Van Zeek's. That way I could keep an eye on him. But then, why the mask? I didn't want to burden Lord Van Zeek's with tiresome explanations about why he had an Eastern apprentice. Because it would be so much easier to explain why he was wearing a mask. He's proving to be a great help to Lord Van Zeek's. I have high hopes for his future. By the way, do you know where he's gone? No idea, but I believe he's left London for the time being. Oh. I take it you also didn't know that the man's father was one of our country's most infamous criminals, I mean. Genshin Asogi. Kazuma's father's crimes. Genshin's being paid off for his crimes. What we learned from that trial 8 days ago was a huge shock. Finding out my friend's father was... Ah yes, Genshin Asogi. The professor case 10 years ago caused a great stir here in Britain. There were such awful murders, and unprecedented, using a ferocious dog as a murder weapon. And no one would have believed the culprit was a foreign student invited to study here by the government. So the true identity of the killer couldn't be made public then, and can't be made public now. Nobody in your country knows it was him, and neither do the citizens of London. The main motivation was to avoid aggravating relations between our two nations at the time, I understand. Correct. However, it has to be noted that there were some supporters of the professor's apparent cause. What? Supporters of a mass murderer? The majority of the man's victims were a blight on the aristocracy of the day. Huh? Somewhat ironically, their deaths actually benefited society as a whole. Why Clint, then? How did Clint? Or so a fair few thinkers in London believed, anyway. Right. I see. But it was still murder, wasn't it? It seems very similar, doesn't it? To the idea of the Reaper of the Bailey. Alright, well, I guess we gotta go back to Sholmes' suite. Ding-a-ling-a-ling. Is that like ding-dong-bing-bong for the 1890s? Ah, here's my guest now, my latest client with money to spend. Oh, I do hope it's an exciting case, Hurley. Remember, Iris, we are at present gripped by the greatest problem known to man. I must be willing to accept any case, no matter how unstimulating. Save locating a runaway, of course. Don't spare anyone's feelings, will you? Oh dear, I'm afraid that Hurley can lack a little tact, especially just before rent is due. Oh, he was talking about Cosma. The whack. Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, please. Oh, please. Is that juror number 2 from the last case? Please find my husband. He's run away. Ha! To upset me. I beg your pardon? Never mind, a personal matter. My apologies. What exactly are you trying to say, Mr. Naruhodo? I didn't say a word. Come, my dear madam, be seated. Iris, some tea, if you please. Of course. What's the matter, Mrs. Sato? Oh, it's just that gentlewoman. I feel sure I've seen her somewhere before. Very recently. Yes, now that you come to mention it. Yeah, she was juror number 2. Evie. As I explained earlier, my name is Evie Vigil. I know someone named Evie. They're really nice. They've done a lot of, if you've ever seen any of those Gen 1 Pokemon glitch videos on YouTube that are, like, posted all over Bulbapedia, my friend Evie is the person that uploaded most of those. Chikasaurus is their alternate handle. Sorry, one sec. Evie Vigil. I implore you to take the case, sir. Money is no object. Simply name your figure. Okay, £1 million. Money and wealth are of little consequence to me, madam. Sholmes! Being offered a case to solve is reward enough. No! Oh, Mr. Sholmes, you are the picture of benevolence. I will, of course, make a mental note of your offer, however, for contingent reasons. I trust you remember your words also. If If I might inquire, sir. This gentleman and lady would be... Oh, me? What am I about to tell you? I should like to communicate in the strictest confidence, you understand? Ah, these are my friends. I assure you, you may say before this pair anything which you may say to me. Ah, I see. I can vouch for the gentleman personally. After all, he's hard of hearing. Why did I ever get my hopes up? Mrs. Vigil, would you mind casting your eyes over this? Oh, my poor Daly, what have you gone? What's become of you? I'm afraid she's too worried about her husband to pay any attention, Mr. Naruhodo. Either that or she just doesn't want to be bothered with me. Mrs. Vigil. Forgive me for asking, Mrs. Vigil, but have we met somewhere before? Quite recently, perhaps? Oh my. Pshaw, my dear fellow, what is your intention? Clearly you have no ability to differentiate the facial features of the English. If you wish to invite the lady to tea, you must do so in a more gentlemanly fashion. Is it possible that you're the nice young lawyer from the trial I attended last week? Ah, I knew I recognized her. I wonder if there's a reason, because they mentioned the fact that the jurors are all the same every case, that they're mostly the same people. I'm wondering if there is a plot reason for that we're going to find out about. I didn't quite recognize her because she's acting so differently now. It must be very difficult for you as a lawyer, being hard of hearing, I mean. Pardon? Oh dear, I'm so sorry. Don't worry if you can't hear. It was frippery, really. Nothing more. Now look what you've started, Mr. Sholmes. Thank you very much. I believe it would be prudent for you to sit quietly in the corner. Yes. Tell us about your husband, madam. Mr. Vigil, my Daly is 40 years of age. I have a photograph here. An entirely unremarkable gentleman, by appearance at least. How long have you been married? It'll be 15 years this year. We have a cordial relationship, and my husband's income is more than adequate, so we live quite comfortably. As it would appear, I need only look at you to know these things. Oh gosh. Your dress is the latest style, your hat clearly regularly groomed, and your eyes are animated. In short, you have no inkling as to why your husband might have disappeared, correct? That's right. He's a kind man with a strong sense of loyalty, and he rather dotes on me. Which would point to the possibility that he has become embroiled in some incident or another. Oh, that is exactly what I fear must have happened, Mr. Sholmes. I'm quite beside myself. My husband's employment is somewhat unusual, you see. What if he's incurred some miscreant's ill will? What exactly is your husband's line of work? He's a warder at the prison. A guard. That is somewhat unusual. Ugh. So, your husband is a prison warder. That's right, yes. Well, in actual fact, he's the chief warder. Indeed, I see. Well, chief prison warder certainly qualifies as something of a specialist occupation. Yes, it does indeed. My poor husband must prepare those dreadful punishments and see that they're carried out. Dreadful punishments? Does she mean capital punishments? And at such times, he must occasionally spend a night or two in the prison dormitory. But for that extra responsibility, he's remunerated. Remunerated. Wow, that is not a word. I thought it was remunerated. It's opposite, though. It's remunerated. More handsomely than the other warders. Of course, we make no mention of my husband's work to the neighbors. Yes, I believe your prudence is justified. Tell me, at what present is your husband engaged? Barclay Prison, Mr. Sholmes. Really? Barclay? Oh, a fine establishment. Yeah, Renamon. I did show you, I got the Renamon and Gilmon dim cards for my Vital Bracelet. By the way, I brought my Vital Bracelet to PAX and never used it once. I never had the opportunity to wear it. If I'm not mistaken, there is a large cemetery just behind it. Yes, that's correct. Lowgate Cemetery. No! Lowgate Cemetery? The very place we were discussing in court. That's unbelievable. Unbelievable, my dear fellow. And undeniable. And that's also where Mikatoba worked, apparently. Sorry, Mr. Sholmes, I'm afraid you've lost me. Ah, pay no heed, madam, pay no heed. A private matter. This can't really be a coincidence, can it? No, why'd I go back to... Oh, look at that. I want to check something here. How bad is this getting? Oh, that's not good. God damn it. This is the Pro Controller, too. Why is this happening? It's like sticking that way, too. Yeah, this is getting pretty bad. Uh-oh. I can't take this thing apart. I've tried. Of course, the right stick is absolutely fine. I fucking missed the Tetris 99 Maximus Cup. I said I was going to do this during PAX, and I fucking forgot about it. It's the first one I didn't... It's not only the first one I missed streaming, but now it's over, and I can't get the theme. I can't get the Kirby theme. I'm so upset. Oh, Tetris Effect got updated, though. I'm sorry, what version? Alright, I'm sorry to interrupt the game, but... Why is this updated to version 1.3? It skipped like 2 versions. What does all this mean? There's stuff here that I want to know. Alright, whatever. Later. Really gotta figure out what to do about my Pro Controller, though. That's really not cool. So, to the matter of your husband's disappearance, when did you realize he was missing? Please try not to laugh. It was yesterday. I'm sorry, yesterday? That really is recent, laughably so. The truth is, my husband does at times have occasion to spend the night away for work. It's not at all out of the ordinary for him not to return home at night. But this is different. For him not to make any contact for a whole day. That has certainly never happened before. Oh, my dear Daly, whatever could have happened? My dear Miss Vigil, please calm yourself. Now then, have you contacted the police? Why, naturally, but sadly, they refused to listen to my pleas and my husband is only missing for 1 day. I was asked to wait patiently at home. In truth, Mrs. Vigil, I concur with the police. However, let us not be so hasty. I see no reason why we should not engage my deductive powers to track your husband down anyway. Oh, thank you, Mr. Sholmes. And furthermore, let me assure you, a chance to solve the greatest problem known to man for another month has no bearing on my decision. I seek only to put a sweet smile on another Londoner's face. That's really all there is to it. You have my eternal gratitude. I shall pay any sum you care to mention. You seek only to put this sweet's rent in your landlady's purse. That's all there is to it. for everything you've shared with us, Mrs. Vigil. I believe I have all the information I need to begin my investigation. Oh, please report to me with the good news soon, sir. Fear not, madam. In a day or two, I shall be contacting you with the heartening report, I'm quite sure. So soon? Oh, how splendid, Mr. Sholmes. Good news should be delivered early, I always say. If you would be so kind as to leave the photograph of your husband in my possession. Photographic print received Mrs. Vigil in order to aid with locating her missing husband. He appears to have no particularly distinctive facial features. Thank you. Now, allow me to show you the door. I can't thank you enough, Mr. Sholmes. You've simply been marvelous. You know, I think it every time, Hurley. But how do you come out with such nonsense? Good news in a day or two? Are you sure? I can't be sure, of course, but then I didn't swear on it. I merely gave the good woman some hope. I hope to be able to give her good news, one might say. After all, the rent must be paid by the end of the day tomorrow. If by that time I've successfully located Mr. Vigil, we shall be mutually relieved. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? Don't look at me with those pleading eyes. Well, my dear fellow, did you hear the details of the case? Yes, my hearing is surprisingly good, actually. Excellent. And what do you make of it? Well, I was surprised to learn where her husband worked. At Barclay Prison, I mean. Ah, so you noted that. Oh, excuse me. Of course, especially with the mention of Lowgate Cemetery. I remember Hatomoa, the creator of Hatoful Boyfriend, was obsessed with Drebber for a hot minute. Because I remember they posted a lot of screenshots of Drebber on their Twitter account when they were playing through this game. I played another game by Hatomoa last year called Murder by Numbers, which was pretty interesting. It was like a Picross. It wasn't by Hatomoa, it wasn't written by her, but she, I believe she did, character designs for it, or art for it? Or did she help write the plot? Oh man, I have to actually look that up. Other works. Main character design for Murder by Numbers. Yep. She also helped write the Japanese translation for Undertale. Barclay Prison is where that notorious man was incarcerated. The professor. And now a warder from the prison has mysteriously disappeared, it would seem. It's all very peculiar. Indeed, but nothing you can't handle, I'm quite certain, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry? Run along to the prison and see what you can glean. Would you? It's the prison governor you want, no doubt the man is equally worried. But aren't you going to go yourself? Surely you needn't ask. I can't possibly be seen out with this hair. But didn't you go to Lime Street with that hair? That was quite a different matter. So I leave it in your capable hands. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm rather busy. Douche. Of course you are. Officer of Governor Barclay Prison, which stands behind Lowgate Cemetery. Barclay Prison is on the outskirts of London, backing onto a lonely burial ground. Uh-oh. Wasn't this case described as a murder in a room on the outskirts of London? Its 4 high outer walls loomed quietly before us in the fog. Having requested a meeting, we were shown to the governor's office in the watchtower. And that's a nice clock you've got there. Jesus. Yo, look at this. Look at this bird. That's a way too small cage for it. Oh, that might be tonight's screenshot. What time is that? What time into the recording is this? 1:28. I better make a note of that so I could quickly get back here. Wrong thing. Why did I pick Libre Office? God, no. I miss the days of just being able to open up Microsoft Word without that happening. Close. 1:28. Uh-oh. It's funny how this thumbnail is gonna have nothing to do with the case. Jesus Christ, that clock though. Also, is that bottom gear? Okay, no, it's moving. Welcome, bottom gear. 1st November, Barclay Prison, Governor's Office. This place is full of hardened criminals. I cannot remember the last time a civilian was down here. And you didn't want to talk to an inmate, but to me? You don't ken who I am. I'm the governor, Barry Caden. Oh, they mentioned Caden at the beginning of the case, or this chapter. Oh, yes, it's a pleasure. I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo, defense lawyer. And an Easterner I see. Does that mean... Yes, I'm a visiting student of law from the Empire of Japan. Japan? Did you say Japan? Yes, he looks like Fuhrer Bradley from Fullmetal Alchemist. Just a little wider. Well, there's no Eniokan here, laddie. Maybe you should try the prison next door, eh? I'm not nailing that accent very good. It is almost 3 o'clock. I didn't notice another prison next door, sir. Anyway, we came to ask you some questions about... I didn't like to be so direct, but... No intention to speaking with the likes of you suspicious-looking Easterners. Oh, he's the same as, Van Zeeks. Now get out of my hair. So as soon as he finds out that we're from Japan, he reacts like this. That surely means... I think it's because of the professor case. You think so too? 10 years ago, Genshin Asogi, also known as the Professor, was incarcerated at this prison. And then after his execution, he apparently re-emerged from his grave in the cemetery behind the prison. I might have known. You're sniffing around about that case, aren't you? You're agents, eh? Part of the Professor's great web, no doubt. No, not at all. We're just gone with you before I punch your lights out. We're going. Clearly the ghost of that killer still haunts this place. We're not going to get anywhere here, unless we could somehow prove to this man that there's nothing suspicious about us. Governor Caden? What are you thinking, Mrs. Sato? I feel sure that name came up in conversation recently somewhere. I was wondering if whoever mentioned him might have some new ideas to help us. Come to think of it, I had the same feeling. I said, get out! Governor Caden, could I at least show you this? And yawn? Yeah. How many times can one man turn his back to you on a single conversation? He appears to have no distinct facial features, except his big mouth. Look at... That's a good face. I wish I could just make it so that the eyes were still visible. Oh, this is good. Look at this is a great face. Wait, no. Yeah, there we go. I don't know how to feel about characters doing this kind of thing because you know stuff, yeah. Oh look, Sasato's dad is conveniently in the lobby. Legs spread like an asshole. That's Professor Mikotoba over there. All you know is it's not a good feeling. It isn't a good feeling. It's purposely done to make you feel uncomfortable in this game, though. Hello, you two. I was just taking a moment to catch up on the world now that I'm unpacked. Where's Judge Jigoku? Yes, he's not in the relaxing sort. He's taken himself off to pay his respects to all the legal bigwigs. Having only just arrived in the country today? Goodness, he is full of energy. Professor, you mentioned something before about how you'd known the prison governor at Barclay Prison. Oh, Governor Caden, you mean? So it's the same man. Father, we must speak with the governor. But he refused to talk to us. He said we were suspicious Easterners. Well, I'm sure if I accompanied you, it would be a very different story. Oh, would you? That would be wonderful if you have time now. Sadly, as you could see, I'm very busy at the moment, reading a newspaper. Busy drinking coffee on a comfortable settee. Now, I have rather a lot to prepare for tomorrow, you know. Oh, sorry, I didn't say that out loud, did I? You Mikotobas are alarmingly good at reading people's thoughts. Or it could be that you Naruhodos are alarmingly bad at hiding your thoughts. Let's not fall out now, I have an idea. What's he writing on that piece of paper? Here's a letter of introduction for you. Hopefully when he sees my name, he'll change his tune. Ah, thank you. Note of introduction on our behalf from Professor Mikotoba to Governor Caden. Hopefully now be willing to talk to us. Good luck then. Blackbird line. Oh, it looks like this is some sort of steamship ticket. The SS Grouse, first class cabin, 001. Yokohama departure, 11th of September. London arrival, 1st of November. Oh, that's the boat that Professor Mikotoba and Judge Jigoku came on from Japan, isn't it? Yes, I think it called at Dunkirk on the north coast of France for a night before finally arriving in Dover. I think it's been almost a year since we arrived in Dover on the SS Burya. Seems a shame not to keep your ticket as a memento of your trip, don't you think? Yes, I agree. I have mine safely in my diary. And I keep mine in my wallet, so I have it with me at all times. Oh, how strange. Where could it have gone? Are you like this on purpose, Mr. Naruhodo? Did I imagine it, or was that comment accompanied by a little sigh? It's written on the back of a ticket for passage on a steamship. That's gonna be important. Professor Mikotoba has wonderful handwriting, doesn't he? This dark-suited young man is not in the least bit untrustworthy. Is it just me, or does that make me sound extremely untrustworthy? I do wish he'd at least call you a nice young man. I'm really not sure that would help. If you just cast your eyes over to this, Governor Caden. What's this then? You cannot pull the wool over my eyes, you good-for-nothing Japanese student. Mikotoba. That young jock from the forensics laboratory. That Mikotoba? Yes, exactly, him. Oh dear, perhaps I should have said something sooner. I'm Yujin Mikotoba's daughter, Susato. Jings! You're the young man's daughter? And you didn't think to mention that before? I do apologize. Aye, well, you'd best take a seat then. Can I offer you a cup of tea, perhaps? That's a cute little cracker he just chewed into. And didn't forget to try one of these wee handcuff biscuits. Oh, it's a handcuff-shaped biscuit. Your father's influence is nothing short of amazing. I'm bitterly regretting not announcing who I was from the outset now. So then, what can I do you for, hen? Well, we're currently investigating a case. It's one of your warders, you see. He's gone missing. Missing? That's right. It's surely been reported to you as well, being the prison governor. It's a cuff cookie. I've never heard nothing of the sort. There's no missing persons in my prison. Oh. But how can that be? Mr. Daily Vigil, your chief warder. Vigil. That's right, his wife came to us and asked us... His wife came to us and asked us to investigate his disappearance. Uh-oh, I'm starting to get drowsy. Let's skip the part about him only going missing yesterday for now. Clearly that means something to him. Would you be so kind as to tell us what you know, sir? Aye, of course. An axe, a hunting rifle, and 4 pairs of handcuffs. That's a daunting collection. There's a story behind each and every one of those. You mean, the rifle was a famous killer's murder weapon, and the axe was wielded by an infamous executioner? And the handcuffs were once used to immobilize a fierce 4-legged beast when it was arrested? I think you're in the realms of fantasy now, Mr. Naruhodo. Those kind of stories, Jimmy. That axe was one I used to chop down the cherry tree at my house. Mrs. Caden wasn't at best pleased. The cuffs on the left are the ones I caught my first burglar with back when I was a bobby. The stories were a little different to those you imagined, I think, weren't they? Yes, to my relief, and in some small way, my disappointment. I suppose these are all former governors of Barclay Prison, are they? No, they're made of mahogany, that's the story. Mahogany. Either that or former inmates who the government has sent to the gallows. Oh dear, they all have such severe expressions. I really couldn't deny either possibility. Especially the one on the extreme right. His expression goes beyond severe into a whole new territory. That one's me. I'm terribly sorry, sir. Is it a prerequisite of the job, perhaps? Having a severe expression, I mean? Of course it's not, although it is taken into consideration. A lot. It's a very large cabinet full of papers, isn't it? It's labeled Inmate Register, look. And all the files are in alphabetical order. It's 50 years worth of records of Barclay's inmates. Whether or no they left alive after serving their term. All the details about the crimes they committed are recorded in there, like an epitaph, you might say. A record of crimes and punishments. How dispiriting. And yet, this man seems to be enjoying tea and biscuits as he talks about it. Deer. That deer's been staring at me for a while now. It has? The poor thing can't fit through the small hole in the wall, but it can't get its head back out again now either. It's giving me a woefully imploring look. It's the second time he's made that comment. It's not real, Mr. Naruhodo, it's stuffed. What? I mean, yes, of course it is. For a moment, I thought it was another assassin sneaking in via the ventilator. I don't like to say, but I think perhaps you need to reread The Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes. I never expected to find a parrot in a prison. Must be the governor's pet. Given where we are, it's hard not to see the poor creature as a prisoner. Let me out! Did they kill me? Has the bird learned to mimic the plaintive cries of the inmates in the cells? Oh, no, he was one of the 3 siblings, you see? And he still calls out the names of his 2 brothers like all that all the time. Right. Let me out, do they kill me? Aye, aye, I hear ya, laddie. You want your dinner, eh? Didn't they do it? Why did I pick that again? Let me oot. I'm actually like getting really drowsy all of a sudden. It seems like ever since PAX, I now get drowsy pretty quickly at like 3. Alright, I'm gonna stop after I exhaust all the options here. We understand that Mr. Vigil is the chief warder here at the prison. Aye, that he was. Strong sense of responsibility and dedication to the job. No doubt about it. He was a fine warder. Sorry, did you say was? Aye. Doesn't they work here no more? He left the job. Oh my. When was this exactly? There's a question. When was it about? It cannot have been much less than 10 years ago now. What? 10 years ago? He stopped working here 10 years ago? Aye. As I mind it, do you know, you hadn't heard that fellow's name in all that time. That's a worry if he's gone missing, though. But Mrs. Vigil made no mention of it. I think perhaps, Mr. Naruhodo, that his wife simply doesn't know. I think she's unaware that he no longer works here. Governor Caden, can you tell us what happened? Why did Mr. Vigil give up his job here? That's important, is it? Yes, I believe it may be. 10 years ago was when the professor thing happened. What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? I can't help wondering, given that it was 10 years ago. Which was exactly when the professor was being held here at the prison. So Mr. Vigil actually resigned from the position of Chief Warder 10 years ago, you're telling us? What happened to make him leave the job? In actual fact, he did not leave the job willingly. He had no choice in the matter. You mean he was dismissed? It was after a particular walk. Sorry, a walk? Aye, that's all word for it in here. A walk to the gallows. An execution? It's the job of the Chief Warder to prepare the gallows tree and oversee any executions, you see. Only Vigil did something unthinkable on that last walk he was manning. What did he do? I'm sorry, but I cannot reveal that information. But I can tell you that it's very rare for a Chief Warder to be relieved of his post. Why would Mrs. Virgil know about it? She appears to be under the impression that her husband still works here. I wouldn't ken anything about it, I'm afraid. Can you perhaps answer one more question about the circumstances of his dismissal? And what would that be in? The last execution that Mr. Vigil was responsible for overseeing. Was it by any chance the professor's? My thoughts exactly. I'm sorry, I really am. But I'm at no liberty to answer that. I see. My father came to Britain all those years ago in order to study forensic medicine. But you seem to have been well acquainted. The dead room, the prison, and the cemetery have a lot to do with one another. After all, they need fresh corpses for the forensic research. You know, Ken? Yes, I can imagine. The advancement of medical science isn't always particularly palatable. Your father worked in the laboratory just on the far side of the graveyard, in the basement of the St. Sinners, It's still in use today. St. Sinners, that's come up before, I'm sure. Yes, that's right. We've been there. Mikatoba and I have to use to ride a carriage together to negotiate terms. For more fresh material, I suppose. Aye, and we used to sit here and here for hours and gab about this section and all sorts. Oh, takes me back. Uh-oh. I'm dozing. How charming. He was a good fellow, your father. Reliable and dead set on his work. But I'm afraid I'll never understand you Japanese. Because of Genshin Asogi, I suppose. Well, I cannot tell you anything else. Thank you so much for your time, Governor. Oh, one moment before you're away, Hen. I'm sure I have it here somewhere. Ah, found it. Here, take this as a wee souvenir of your visit to the prison. What is it? It's Vigil's dismissal notice. It's 10 years old now, of course. Oh my, are you sure? Aye, it's no trouble at all. It's not the original, mind. Harsh reprimand occurred by Mr. Vigil 10 years ago that resulted in him losing his job as chief warder at Barclay Prison. Thank you very much, Governor Caden. Chief Warder Daily Vigil was relieved of his post with immediate effect after having violated Clause 132 of Her Majesty's Code of Conduct for prisons. All rights to redundancy pay and other financial benefits are fully revoked. 25th of June. Reason for dismissal: aiding and abetting the escape from this prison of convict just prior to its execution. Details of this escape are still being investigated. Full cooperation with inquiries will be expected. Prisoner Governor Barry Caden. Additional notes: indications that are that the jailbreak plot was conceived prior to the convict's incarceration. It's fully believed that the convict engaged in some sort of negotiation with prison staff in order to secure assistance. Full disclosure of information regarding those negotiations will be demanded. Okay, that's interesting. Governor of Barclay Prison. Seems he was good friends with Professor Mikatoba during the Japanese man's time in Britain as a visiting student. Daily Vigil. A man who disappeared without a word from his family. He was former chief warder at Barclay Prison. Well, in return, do me a favor and never come back here. That case is closed. Well, I think we ought to return to Baker Street for the time being. Yes, I agree. We need to report back to Mr. Sholmes what we found about Mr. Vigil. What will he tell Mrs. Vigil, I wonder? And actually check the clock. Ah, look, we have an opportunity here now, while the governor's away. Mr. Naruhodo, you could be in prison if you were caught. That's a good point. Perhaps not, then. Oh, damn it. Everything's gonna say the same thing now? Yep. Back. Hello, you two. I thought you'd be back before long, so I baked some scones for us all. Those scones are delicious. Oh, God. Ah, so that's what that delicious smell is. Greetings, my dear fellows. You've returned a good deal sooner than I was anticipating. Hello, Mr. Sholmes. Hello, Mr. Sholmes? Say nothing, your thoughts are written all over your face in any case. It turns out that it may have been advisable to test my hair color restoration tonic before application. Yeah, he's blue now. Oh my. Pray tell me, what of our warder friend? Have you garnered some new information? Oh, yes, something very surprising, in fact. Though it's not a patch on your hair, to be honest. It most certainly isn't, but still, we discovered that... Sholmes! Oh, it's Gina. Drop everything, Sholmes. This is more important. Gina? I can't Adam and Eve it. What's happened? Clearly a very grave matter indeed. For Miss Lestrade made no mention of my hair whatsoever. It's the boss. What do you mean? Inspector Gregson? The boss is... He's dead. What? They just found his body shot with a pistol. What? But... Inspector Gregson? He was murdered? No, not Gregsy. Come in, my dear girl. Tell us the whole story. Are you serious, Gina? Inspector Gregson was... He was really shot? I don't know much about what happened himself yet. They're still there, investigating the scene. Where did this take place? A little rented room in a building full of flats on Fresno Street. The outskirts of town, nowhere near his home. He was perhaps investigating a case then. The thing is, no one at the yard knows nothing about no case around there. Oh, how strange. The boss was... He was so good to me. I know I ain't up to much yet, but... One day I was gonna show him. I was gonna show him I'd become a proper detective. Oh, Ginny. No fucking way. So, who did this? Do you have any idea who the culprit is? They got him already. Already? They caught the shooter so soon? The witness reported something was going on, and the boys got straight down to there and took care of him. Who? What awful person did this? It's gonna be the husband. I still can't believe it myself. Gina? It was the Reaper. No. Van Zeeks? No, this can't be right. Wait a minute, you don't mean... They've arrested Lord Van Zeeks for it? That's right. That Reaper bloke's gone. And shot the boss. No. Lord Van Zeeks. Are you quite sure, Miss Lestrade? It's Barak Van Zeeks the police have arrested? I saw him with me own eyes. In the interview room at the yard. I don't believe it. But there were witnesses. And they're all saying it was him. So you mean there were actually multiple witnesses? They heard the gunshot, apparently. And when our lot got to the scene, there was only the boss and that Reaper bloke in the room. But there's no way Lord Van Zeeks would have taken Gregson's life. I just don't believe it. I don't believe it either. Thank you for informing us, Miss Lestrade. This really is most terrible news. I'm dreadfully sorry. Who are you saying sorry for? You didn't do nothing. Well, anyway, I'm taking a cab over to the scene right now. Please come and all, as soon as you can. You gotta help. It's a detective's lot to appear whenever some sinister plot has unfolded. Little wonder we all look haggard. Sometimes these things are almost too much for the nerves. Mr. Sholmes, What use is there in being a great detective if I fail to see something like this coming? How could I let this happen to Gregson? To Gregson. Mr. Naruhodo, I shall leave at once to begin my investigations. Of course, yes, we will too. It would be helpful if you could talk to Mr. Reaper and see what you can glean. I'm sure you were intending to do so anyway. Until later, then. Inspector Gregson dead, and Lord Van Zeek's arrested. Bruno, Susie! I've called you a hansom. It's waiting outside. Thanks, Iris. Shall we, Mrs. Sato? Yes. Oh, man. That was a shock to the system. Murdered Scotland Yard inspector. He was stern and single-minded in his approach and a great lover of fish and chips. Oh, fucking no. This is ridiculous. Where is this going? Lord Van Zeek has been arrested. What on earth is happening? Scene of the crime. A hidden room accessed from a small alley off Fresno Street in a quiet part of London. Alright. We're gonna save all of that for next time. Because right now I need to take a rest. I need to stop. That was a lot to take in all at once there. Holy shit, what an escalation. Let me see where I am on the accolades. I don't think there's many more to get. Yeah, just finish chapters 4 and 5. Get all of the achievements, and then this is... Yeah, there's one thing that you could do in chapter 4, and then there's a question mark one, which I'm assuming is something you do in chapter 5. But we got everything else. We're close. We're close to finally finishing this game. Cool. Well, that's going to be it for tonight. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for Miss Mander for the raid and the follow. I will absolutely be following them back. In fact, I already have. I did it during the break. Yeah, this is really ramping up, and I can't wait to see where this chapter goes. We will be finishing that this week. And then after I finish that, I'll be moving on to something else until my trip. And when I come back from the trip, we'll finish this off with chapter 5. But this is, it's been a ride, and I'm enjoying it. If you want to watch more streams, check out twitch.tv/team/wildabandon. Plenty of people streaming there right now. Auto host, whatever, it doesn't work. Like I said, auto host doesn't actually take you to teammates. I thought it did a while ago, and it never did, apparently. But anyway, I'm exhausted. You all have a good night. I will see you tomorrow. And hopefully we'll make a good chunk into this case. Good night.